I guess I'll jump in next to answer the question. So, just when it comes to networking, so for myself, I have a little bit of a different perspective. So I'm a small business owner, I'm a solopreneur. So, building my practice during the pandemic had several challenges. So for me, leaning in on my network and really like trying to build my client base and for them to support me, that was feasible simply because I did spend a lot of time building relationships, building connections with people. And it's not always because you want something, but you never know when down the road you might need to, tap on the shoulder and say, hey, actually, I could use your support in this area, or potentially approach someone as a potential client. So I'm also, financial service adjacent. I do accounting. So for me, my network that I'm speaking about tonight is BNI. So I mentioned before, I just recently joined this organization and I'm a charter member for the BNI Engaged chapter. So BNI is a network. Not sure if everyone's familiar with it. BNI stands for Business Networking International. The whole premise behind the organization is that there's several chapters in many communities worldwide, but there's only one seat for each profession in each chapter. So I hold the CPA seat in my chapter, so I'm not going to be competing with anyone else for any work when it comes to tax or anything any services that I offer. The same thing goes, we have plumbers, we have painters, we have financial advisors, we have professional organizers, multi-level marketing members, doTERRA, you name it, it's a profession that you could join a chapter for. So if you're a small business owner and you're looking to, oh, thank you, I just got a message, but I will definitely reach out to you about that later. But if you're looking to potentially even just, expand your network, networking is huge. And then you join an organization, and the whole premise behind this is givers gain. So it's about what you can give. I'm not going to my chapter meeting saying, hey, where's my referral? I'm saying, what can I do to support you in your business? And let's do one-to-ones so that I can learn about you and I could potentially refer business to you. So it's givers gain is one of the principles of this organization. And to answer your question, it resonated with my own values and beliefs within my business and my firm. And it helps me every day. Like for today, for example, I referred business to a member of my chapter, but it actually helped me be better at my job because I'm speaking to someone about their taxes, their tax planning, and I see a gap. I said, hey, do you have a financial advisor? The answer was no. And being able to say, hey, I know someone I could refer you to is huge. And now they see the value add of, hey, my accountant is awesome because, they're connecting me and minding the gaps that I don't even know exist. So to answer your question, Jamaal, like the power of networking, the power of these organizations, Black Long Island, whichever organizations you can join, is that it expands your reach so much further than yourself. So I'll leave it there and I'll pass the mic.
So the ladies left nothing for me.
I know, right? You saw that, right?
But Jamaal, I got my angle, and so I'm going to actually demonstrate networking first. Adrienne, if you have an open real estate attorney seat in your chapter, let me know, because I've been invited to several BNI chapters and the attorney seats are always full. And the real estate attorney seats that much more. I was even invited to a chartering chapter, and they already had their real estate attorney in place. So let's talk if you do, and that's how you lean on your network as a result. But what I want to touch on, sort of supplement what has been said, is that being part of an association or organization provides credibility to individuals. So what I mean by that, like Adrienne, I'm a solopreneur, run my own law practice, and I don't really do any marketing, right? I don't spend money on ads, things of that nature. And so my business is majority word of mouth. But where the credibility piece comes in is oftentimes people who are doing random Google searches for Black attorneys in New York, they'll come across the Bar Association website. And even before I became president, they find that I'm an officer or I was a director on the board prior to my current role, and they'd pick up the phone and call and say, hey, saw you on MBBA's website. I'm looking for a Black attorney in New York. Can we talk? And it's that credibility from, especially now, how I like to say it is, I think that people look at it, and I absolutely believe I'm competent, credible, I know what I'm doing, but people in my mind are thinking, well, his colleagues thought enough of him to vote him as president, so he must be credible. He must know what he's doing. And so that's part of the benefit that comes out. And to the benefit point, I'm a servant leader. I believe in the Shirley Chisholm quote that service is the rent we pay for the privilege of living on earth. But I do believe also that there should be a benefit from giving of ourselves and of our time, right? And it's that piece I highlighted first in terms of the business and professional development opportunities you can get from association and organizational membership and leadership. That is the byproduct. So I've talked to my board about the fact that it's okay if you're here because you're looking for a benefit for yourself, as long as you remember that there's work to be done at the end of the day. And if we do the work, we serve the bar in the community, and you get a ton of business as a result, more power. But if all your focus is on the benefits to yourself, that's where it becomes problematic.
Yeah, Carlos, you gotta fight for your the talk call. I like that. But I hear you, Kim. I'm gonna get to you. But before we get to the next question, man, I gotta bring up this next brother. He's gonna be mad that I brought him up. But Karan Washington, one of my fellow fraternity brothers, he is by far the best freaking networker I have ever seen in my life. I've seen him work the room many times. I'm like, oh, Jamaal, you gotta step your game up. I wanted him to be one of the panelists, but he's so busy, couldn't return the brother's text. But we'll talk later. But Karan, thank you for coming out. And I definitely appreciate like how you network and in a positive way. So thank you for coming out. So since the ladies all skip Carl, I'm gonna make him answer the first question, the next question first. Carl, listen, let's keep it real. I know it's recorded, so I'm gonna be a little PC. All groups are not created equal. Let's be honest, some groups suck, and you're like, oh my God, well, I'm in this group. How do you find the right group for you? Like, how is that? Where are you, Carl?
Yeah, I'm here. I think it's trial and error, right? It's associating with folks, taking part in meetings, and identifying where you fit in. But also, it's maybe looking at certain groups for certain benefits. And so what I mean by that, MBBA, Black Bar Association, is my focus. It's where I've dedicated the majority of my time when it comes to the legal association space. But I'm also a member of the Brooklyn Bar Association, the New York City Bar Association, the New York State Bar Association, the American Bar Association, the National Bar Association. And they all serve a bit of different roles, right? Brooklyn Bar, I'm a Brooklynite, I'm here in Brooklyn. But running my practice, the Brooklyn Bar and City Bar give me resources I wouldn't have otherwise. Office space when I need it, conference rooms, research tools, Lexis, Westlaw, those types of things we need in the legal practice. So my memberships there are more focused on what I can get out of them as opposed to what they can really get out of me. So I take that back. I serve on a committee with the City Bar also, so I am in service there also. But that's sort of, and a lot of it's been, I've been members of other things that I've let drop off. I dedicate more time at certain times. So, Jamaal, I was much more active in Kappa leadership years ago, and that slowed down because I took more leadership responsibility in the bar. And so it's finding the balance both on what you're doing, but also what you're interested and involved in. But to basically answer your question, you just gotta get involved, and if you don't like it, you move on, or you seek to rise to a position where you can influence change to make that group what you envision it should be.
Kimberly, do you have a response to that?
I actually agree wholeheartedly with what Carl said, and something that he referenced, I would refer to as the law of reciprocity being at work. So he talked about, being of service in these various organizations, and then, giving and being generous of your time and your service, and it comes back to you. So I think that when folks are networking, a lot of people are they dread the word networking. They think it's going into a room and introducing themselves to a bunch of people that they don't know and having to shake hands and having to say something and not knowing what to say. And that's really not what it's about, right? So yes, you should introduce yourself to people. You should open your mouth and tell people who you are. But many of the things that Carl has just said, being a part of an organization, letting people know who you are. Like he said, by being in leadership, people found him online. That credibility went before him. So if your credibility can precede you and follow you, it just makes it that much more easy to make networking contacts all the way around. So yes, I agree with all that Carl had to say and then some.
So I know the common theme was leadership. You both mentioned leadership, and that was actually one of my questions. So I'm just going to go straight to it. Leadership is hard, especially in a volunteering situation. We all been leaders in our organizations, and it's a lot of unnecessary drama. So my main question is when does it make sense to be in the leadership role? Because you don't need to be a leader, but when does it kind of make sense? And Felicia, let me ask Felicia that, because when does it make sense to be in a leader? And Adrienne, you're gonna be next because she's the president of 10 organizations.
Honestly, it's important to be a leader at all times. Once you are given that responsibility, however, how you choose to lead makes the difference. Being a leader also means, moving to the side and allowing others to step up and not micromanaging. And you have to give people that opportunity. For me to get where I am now, that was based off of opportunity. Someone saw my vision, they believed in what I was doing, gave me that chance to step up when no one else would. So that was the door. You have to allow doors to open for other people the same way people allow doors to open for yourself. And to me, that's what being a true leader is, but also setting an example of opportunities and empowerment. That to me, that's a definition of a leader. Listen, we have to learn. It's a learning process. I believe that everybody in this room is a leader. It's choosing how you want to lead. And for me, I choose to lead as a community person, inviting all. I believe in the kumbaya method. Let's all play together. We can all rise at the same time. To me, that's being a leader. Not, it's not just, it's all about me. So
I like that, because also you got to know your limits, because we all got families, and that plays a huge factor of how leaders get burnt out. 1 minute they super leader, the next minute you're like, nah, I'm done. So you want to kind of balance it out. So Adrienne, what do you feel about that?
I love that you just said that, because, as Felicia's talking, I'm writing down, oh man, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that. But leading with grace and integrity were two things that came up for me, because there you can see an opportunity, there could be a call to serve, but the leading with grace is really important, because you also don't want to overextend yourself. So having the integrity to really reevaluate, okay, what could I give to this position? Am I the best person for this role? And sometimes it's stepping outside your comfort zone. So whenever there's an opportunity to lead, I really look at the role and evaluate, okay, what could I bring to this role? How can I move the needle forward? An organization I used to, like Carl said, sometimes you drop off some of these organizations, but NABA, the National Association of Black Accountants, their slogan is lift as you climb. So it's really about, pulling people along with you, and that resonates. That's a vision that I resonate with. So whenever it's a role that's coming up, I really look at what can I offer to this role? Do I have the capacity to serve in this role? If I don't, can I make it work? Can I reach out for support? Can I, I before I do anything, I speak to my family, I speak to my partner, and I say, hey, this is coming up. I'm being asked to do X, Y, and Z. Do we have the capacity for this? Because I don't want it to now be a burden on my family, my kids. I have a 1-year-old, very spunky and very energetic, and a 5-year-old who's on the chess team and has lots of things that she's doing. So for me, I'm looking at it from all, like holistically from all parts of, am I going to move the needle forward? Do I have the ability to serve in this role? Do I resonate with this role and the vision of this organization? And is this something that would be worth my time? Because it's always a trade-off between time and, it's the most limited and finite resource that we have. So for me, I value time over everything, over money, X, Y, and Z. So if my time is the most valuable thing I have, I want to make sure that I'm spending it in the right places and investing my time in causes that I believe in.
I love that you mentioned comfort zone, because that's a big factor, especially when you're in multiple groups. However, like my biggest issue personally when it comes to comfort zone is getting, with me, I'm gonna keep it very transparent. It's like black. I'm like, there's no diversity in my life. But that held me back a lot. And so how do we break out of that that comfort zone? Like, it's okay to break out of it and, go to different organizations, different, races and stuff like that. Because and I also think a lot of Black people suffer from that too. It's like blah, 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 blah. But how can we break out of that and get like true networking value and collaborate more?
Well, I would say, Jamaal, I'm rooting for everybody Black. I'm going to keep rooting for everybody Black, but I can do that in different spaces. I don't have to only be in Black spaces. I guess the influence that I leverage in whatever space I go to, I'm going to try to use for the benefit of our community. But I think that, like you said, we can limit our reach if we don't expand beyond our own networks. That's not to say that we shouldn't prioritize, but it just means that we have to be able to traverse in 2 or more different spheres and still know where our priorities are.
I feel like Kimberly's been reading my MBBA materials. My theme for my presidency this year is expanding our reach. And it's really that point of further collaboration, broadening our network beyond just attorneys, right, into other Black professional spaces, but also other bar associations and working beyond just the affinity groups. And so you absolutely can exist in our space and root for everyone Black while also broadening or expanding your reach, to go back to that. So
I want to jump in real quick. I feel like sometimes when don't get me wrong, I am definitely Black, blackity, black, everything Black. However, I realized while, trying to figure out what it was I wanted to do on my path and in my journey, I wasn't getting the information that was needed from our blackity, black group. And I feel like sometimes we hold on to information. So I literally had to step out of my comfort zone and go into other networking groups. You really have to define your mission and your purpose, and then find networking groups that, that covers everything. You're not going to find a networking group that covers one thing. You're going to break down your mission. And if it's talking about real estate, okay, great. There's one area in real estate, but then there's so many other areas of real estate that you need to jump into, whether it's the legal side, the commercial side, the residential side, the land, like just in general, you need to start breaking that down into small little pieces as much as possible. So you do that even with networking, and you find networking groups that focuses on tidbits of the things that you're looking for to help you grow, and you start bringing other people along, and then you take that information back. To be blackity black, it's important to take the information back to our people. And if we're not taking the information back, we're not empowering our people. We're not helping them grow and to develop, because every other culture, they take it back. And, they network hard. When we network, we have to learn how to network and support simultaneously.
Exactly.
You can't expect people to always go to your stuff and you don't turn around and go to someone else's stuff. That's not networking. Networking is, you scratch my back today, I'll scratch your back tomorrow, and let me come over here and rub your foot this way. And we have to do that. We literally, that's networking. And then when something comes up, if a project comes up and we talk, you spoke about procurements and everybody's in business. When a project comes up, you're able to bring the next person with you. Because if you look at a lot of government bids, sometimes it's a very large bid about, it could be like 2 million, 200 million or whatever. But you have to have that type of backing. If you don't have that backing on your own, the best thing to do is let me collaborate with someone else or multiple businesses in order to get that total backing to say, this is our team and we can actually do this bid. We can do this project. Because
I see Adrienne saying amen music. She's
that's what it is for me. So
I think I want to finally break out of it because it's been too long. And then my wife is very diverse. I'm like, dang, I need to diversify my cell phone. But Adrienne, have you ever been in that situation?